So this is part 2 of how to create a horizontal dumbbell chart in chart.js 4. So far we have this here. So what I want to do now is making sure we have basically the averages of the lowest value here, which is the first one here, and the average of the highest value. For that, I will create a line, and this could be maybe like age or something that you want to compare it with. So usually age is a very common one. So what I will do is I'll just put in here a basic plugin, and we're just going to start doing something. Of course, all the data I'm using here is just fictional, as I made them up as I go. So what I'm going to do here is, let's call this an average range, where we're going to create basically two lines, one with the highest and one with the lowest in average, with some space between there, or at least some coloring around it. So let's copy this, the average range. I'm going to say here constant average range ID will be equal to average range, and then we're going to say here, when would we like to draw this? I want to make sure that the lines will be behind these data set or data points. So we're going to say here, before data sets draw, we will draw this item, so chart arcs and plugin options. Then what I want to do here is start working on creating the object, or well, we can do here first an object destructuring, which is constant equals chart. If you don't understand object destructuring, make sure to watch my video in the description box, understanding chart.js object destructuring. Very important. So we're going to say ctx, we say your data, say your chart area, we might need them. We might need a few of them, but I'll just put them all in there. The top, the bottom, left, right, width, and the height. So once I did this, I want to have also the scales, and then the scale specifically will be the X and Y scale. So now, if I refresh, everything is still fine. What I want to do now is get basically the values that we have here indicated. You can see here, these values here are all being indicated, but we need to create an array out of it. So what I'm going to do here is, let's do a constant, and we're going to say here the low array, basically the lowest value. I want to extract all of these and put them in their own array nicely. So it's a low array equals, and then I'm going to use here the object destructuring. I start with the data, which basically allows me to go into this area here, or that's what I want to extract. So I say data dot data sets index 0 dot data, and then I'm going to use the map array method. This creates basically, or this pushes whatever the value we have in this low array. So I'm going to say here, for every data point, comma, index, then we're going to put in here a function error expression, and just here between, we're going to start doing something, and that is very, very simple. But let me just do a console log so we have a visual. Let's get here the data point, and this data point here will show us basically this specific item, or any one of those as in a loop. So if I refresh now, open up the developer tab, you can see here the object. You can see it goes one by one. This one is Spain, Belgium, USA, South Africa, or India. So you have all these different continents or countries. Well, it's not continents, it's countries, my bad. So what we want to do is we want to extract the countries from different continents, or wherever they are. Well, in this case, just the country. So what I'm going to say here is just to, well, what we even want is not even a country name, sorry. I want to get this value here, just to be clear, because I'm getting twisted in my mind. Anyway, so now what I want to do here is the following. I want to say here dot x index 0. Let's save that, refresh, and now we get only the individual values that I want. So what I want to do now is I want to push them in this low array. To do that, we can just say here return data point x index 0. If I do that, I can do this one here down, and then say here now console log low array. By doing that, so let's save that, refresh, you can see now we get the array of all the country values of the index x0. So now how would we do the other one, the high array, which is basically the value here that you want to extract? You might say we can do the same here by copying this, but there's another way that we can do. What I'm going to do here is a constant, and we're going to give this the value of high array equals basically blank, or basically blank array. So there's nothing in yet. So while we return this, we still are able to grab, of course, the data point number 1. So we can do this immediately. So what I'm going to say here, for the high array, I'm going to say, please push this value that we're going to specify here in the high array. Make sure you do it before the return, because once you return nothing else here, nothing will work. So, or it will not read it, because this return is like the end of the code. So if I do this, let's double check now on the high array. Save, refresh. So we have the low array and the high array, and we know that 150 was the highest, which is in India, and this one here, the highest of USA, is number 80. So as you can see here, we have these different numbers, and they all work nicely, and we have both arrays, the highest and the lowest, now nicely together. So what we eventually want to do now is creating the lines. So for that, we'll probably just work on the next video for that one. Just make sure you have this prepared in advance.